Welcome back, N64 fans. Hope you all are in the mood to smash today. Another personal childhood favorite of mine combines several of our favorite Nintendo characters in one game to fight in glorious combat. Super Smash Bros. On the N64 is the genesis of the Smash Bros. Series that eventually led to 5 more installments as of 2020. For obvious reasons, this game doesn't have as much content as later Smash games. For instance, this game only has 12 characters, and the most recent, which is Ultimate, has 74. But believe me when I say that this game does not lack in replay value, especially in multiplayer mode. It really just has a very clean and natural feel to it that makes it easy and fun to play, even by today's standards. I will say, before we get into the main part of this video, that this is truly one of the few games on the N64 I play regularly. I've said it before, Nintendo made games on the N64 easy to pick up, but very difficult to master. Let's dive into this masterpiece, and be sure to smash that like button. I will be conducting this video a little different than usual. I will be giving a review, but I also want to do a full-on walkthrough of how to unlock everything. Too many times I see this game at a friend's house or in public, and it has most of the unlockables still hidden. In all honesty, the time it takes to unlock everything can be done in a single session, especially if you follow my advice. I have reset this game so many times I have become an unofficial master. There are 3 main categories that have unlockables. The first and most important are the 4 hidden characters. Jigglypuff is the easiest to get. She is the second Pokemon in this game after Pikachu. She's the biggest mistake of a character in my opinion. You had 150 more Pokemon to choose from at the time, and we got stuck with this pink floof. Captain Falcon from the F-Zero series is the second unlocked character. Luigi, Mario's less famous brother, is the third. And the last and most troublesome is Ness, the boy genius from Earthbound. The second category is a single unlockable stage, which is Mushroom Kingdom. It's also definitely worth getting. It's a large stage that has a few mechanics that makes for some interesting gameplay. It definitely shakes things up a bit. The last category are option categories. The less boring one, but time-consuming, is the sound test, which is a disappointing feature we'll get more into. The more time-consuming and grindy one is the item switch, which is actually worth pursuing. It will be less time-consuming with my trick, however, so stay tuned. So, let's get moving. We have a game to beat and impress your friends with a 100% complete Smash Bros. Game. The very first thing you should do is go into one-player mode. If you want to go to training, you can. I think it lacks in instruction, but it's good if you want to get your feet wet. There are several options you can choose from, such as spawning items, setting your play speed, and setting the AI action in order to test certain moves or combos you may not be able to execute in the main game. Okay, so let's get to the fun part of the game. Again, I will show you the quickest / most efficient way to get all these features unlocked that I've found. Let's unlock Jigglypuff or Captain Falcon first. They are both somewhat similar in difficulty to obtain. It really depends on if you've played before or not. For our first round, simply choose any player. I would just start with Mario and go through the list to keep track of who you've beaten in the main game, as you will end up playing as everyone in the end anyway. Jigglypuff, you just simply need to beat one-player mode, while Captain Falcon, you need to beat one-player mode in under 20 minutes playtime and without using a continue. Both of these are straightforward and easy because you can set the AI level to the lowest setting and also give yourself 5 lives, which is also called stock, and both can be adjusted here by selecting the appropriate arrow. If you played before, honestly, just go for Captain Falcon the first round in under 20 minutes. And then, if you do it again in under 20 minutes, Jigglypuff will spawn. Let's get into the game and start brawling. The main game consists of stages that is completed by accomplishing your objective. Most of the time it is battling an opponent one-on-one, as seen here with Link. Your objective is to throw them out of bounds, so to speak. You can use a combo of pressing A to punch, B for special attacks, and using the control stick for direction of those attacks. And if you press the control stick and the A button simultaneously, it will produce a power attack in that direction. The Z button is used to grab and throw, which is often useful in knocking them off. Your opponent and yourself will end up flying further after being hit by attacks as your damage percent increases. The faces above your damage meter is the amount of lives you each have. The best advice I have to you all who want to get Captain Falcon is to set it to the easiest difficulty, and really just beat your opponent by being overly aggressive, as they often don't fight back in a dangerous manner. Once you have completed your objective on the stage, a Game Set message will appear, and you will then be awarded a cumulative score based on a very wide multitude of factors, such as time, damage, move usage, item usage, how much damage your allies took, etc. There are quite a few cool scoring options, but don't worry about them, we won't need them for our main goals. Not all stages are one-on-one, however. Sometimes we have team battles, or us versus several enemies. Here we see it's us versus 18 Yoshis, but don't be alarmed, it's not near as bad as you may think. The game only allows 4 players on the stage at any one time, so it's us versus 3 Yoshis at the absolute max. Also, the teams on an individual level are completely nerfed into oblivion. They are actually quite horrible. The Yoshi specifically will be knocked out from one of Mario's up B attacks. The later teams such as Kirby and the Fighting Polygon team are a bit more difficult, but still they are kept at a manageable level. The thing with the teams is you have to watch out for them nabbing your items. Occasionally items will drop from the sky and you'll be able to put them to good use. Items include a beam sword that you can use to inflict heavy damage, bombs to create AoE damage against a clump of enemies, Pokeballs to unleash a variety of Pokemon to attack your opponents. Items are just an overall fun concept that can really help or hurt you depending on who grabs them. The third stage is Fox McCloud, and this is where the difficulty is kicked up a notch. Fox is nimble and evades quite a few of your attacks, especially with the shield bubble roll. He'll get off some pretty good attacks on you as well, so be sure to use items when available, especially the mines and Pokeballs. He has this weird habit of walking into hostile fire. There are 3 bonus stages throughout the main one-player game. Bonus Stage 1, which is Break the Targets. Bonus Stage 2, which is Board the Platforms. And Bonus Stage 3, which is Race to the Finish. Here's where our unlockables intersect, and if you're really confident in your abilities, you can unlock characters, Mushroom Kingdom, and get most of the progress for the sound test just in the one-player main game. For the Mushroom Kingdom, you will need to beat one-player main game on all 8 original characters. To get the sound test, you'll need to complete Break the Targets and Board the Platforms on all characters, including the 4 unlocked ones. This can obviously be 8 out of 12 completed by doing the main game, when we are going for the unlockable characters in Mushroom Kingdom. If you fail, don't worry, there are actually 2 options on the main menu that let you keep attempting the 2 bonus stages in order to complete them quickly. After our first bonus stage of Break the Targets, side note, I will explain the bonus stages more in depth later in the video. We will then move on to our first team battle, a 2v2 against the Mario Bros. Your ally will be displayed next to you and have an arrow with the word ally, which is the most condescending remark in this entire game. Also on another note, some of you may wonder what happens when more than one of the same character goes up against one another. Here we have 2 Marios, and I chose the default color, so the computer is selected with another one of the 4 available. All character models come in 4 different color patterns, so players have an easier time distinguishing their tune, in case there are 2, 3, or 4 of the same selections on the battlefield. The fight isn't too bad on easier difficulties. There is no friendly fire, so don't be afraid to launch attacks every which way, as you will not harm your ally. Your ally can technically die and you can proceed, but I would work to keep them alive because it does offer bonus points, plus, you know, they are an ally, and that is what friends do. Our Stage 5 fight is Pikachu, and let me tell you, this game does not do him justice. This fight seems way too easy no matter the difficulty. Honestly, Pikachu is really sporadic and a little hard to hit, but he's pretty bad at just about everything else. He mopes around and isn't really aggressive by any means. He'll sometimes do really idiotic movesets, including his electric jump, and he'll end up falling off the cliff on his own. Stage 6 is a bit of a curveball. Instead of fighting Donkey Kong, we get a giant Donkey Kong, which is just Donkey Kong with inflated attack power and defense. It takes quite a bit to knock this guy off, but luckily we do get 2 allies on this stage. In addition to DK being huge, he's also unpredictably quick. My only advice here is to try to use range attacks on him and throw items at him when possible. Also, use your allies as the distraction or a meat shield in order to preserve your percent and lives. Up next is our second bonus stage, Board the Platforms. Again, I will explain this in more detail when we go for the sound test that is almost completely useless, but hey, it's still part of the unlockables. Essentially, the TLDR to this is to jump on the platform and to change the color from red to blue. There are 10 platforms per character, and you will be tested on each course, as each bonus stage is tailored to the abilities of the specific character. Stage 7 is another team we must face. The 8-man Kirby team is quite a step up from the noob Yoshi team we faced earlier. The kicker with this team is that they, to an extent, mimic 8 players seen in the game. One of the Kirby's powers in both his game and in Smash Bros. Is his ability to copy. Kirby will have a sort of hat of the character that he is copying, and can use that character's B button ability. For example, Pikachu Kirby can use a Thunderbolt, Link Kirby can use a Boomerang, and Captain Falcon Kirby can use the Falcon Punch, which is very much my favorite move in the entire game. Just be a bit patient with these guys, as they are pretty aggressive and won't hesitate to attack you in a brutal manner. Luckily in this match, we only have to face 2 at a time instead of the normal 3, Stage 8, we face Samus from the Metroid series. The fight against her isn't too difficult, but the actual course is a good news, bad news situation. You can't actually fall off and die, you must be knocked out of bounds from the side or the sky. However, if you do fall down, you'll be singed by boiling hot lava, which causes you to take a lot of damage. Also, the lava levels do fluctuate, so be sure to get to higher ground when appropriate. This makes the course more compact and becomes a close quarter fight. Stage 9 is quite a bit similar to Giant DK. Well, without the giant gorilla. Or the two allies. Okay, maybe it's not that similar. But I do notice some parallels here. We'll face off against Metal Mario, who is unplayable in this game, but he is loaded with defense. See, I knew he had something in common with Giant DK. Luckily, he's pathetically slow at first. Almost like he's stumbling drunk out of a bar. So be sure to strike hard and fast because he will speed up as time progresses. Throws will generate some diminishing returns and damage, but just keep hammering away and use items when available, and he'll eventually give in. Bonus Stage 3 is by far the most forgettable stage in the entire game. It's Race to the Finish, which is 100% self-explanatory. It's difficult to write much about this because in all reality it takes roughly 30 to 40 seconds to complete it if you know what you're doing. Beginners, on the other hand, may have some issues because the fighting polygon team, which is a preface to the next fight, can be burdensome to deal with. But fortunately, if you learn to bubble roll and counter their moves, this part of the game is an absolute joke. And I'm not completely sure why this was thrown in there. But hey, it's easy points and an easy course before our next real challenge. And now for Stage 10, the place where I have by far lost the most lives. Full stop here because I have something to say. Why on earth did they put the entire team on the fight screen? Is this some sort of intimidation factor? It just looks like a giant amorphous blob of magenta. I would still get the point if they used 8, but 30 is way overkill. The reason this is tough is not because these guys fight well. In reality, they are mediocre on a good day. But there are 30 of them. 30, the number of years I have been on this earth. One of them is bound to eventually kill you. Items, especially the heart and maximum tomato, which heals you, are lifesavers in this fight. Biggest issue is it's 3-on-1, and these punks will use little cheat moves to block you from picking them up, while one of their cronies goes to pick it up so you can't heal. Really, with this fight, just be patient. You may die a couple times, but this is seriously Sparta vs. Persia. You are way outnumbered. Also, final note, are these actually polygons? I think polygons are supposed to be 2D, and polyhedrons are supposed to represent 3D. I don't know, I failed geometry. It's just one of those things I vaguely remember. After the legion of unfinished character models, we have our final stage, final with this fancy schmancy F that's gonna raise the overall budget of this game production. Master Hand is a unique, albeit slightly more difficult than average fight. You won't be throwing or knocking him around out of bounds to destroy him. Rather, this fight is based on his health points that starts at 300% and works its way down as you attack him. Nothing about this fight is too difficult to handle if you've made it this far. He'll use sporadic attacks like poking you or blasting you with his finger missiles. This fight is based on movement. Essentially, if you can dodge his attacks, you're golden. Just learn to bubble roll and time your jumps, and this dude is an absolute cakewalk, especially compared to the fighting polygon team. Power moves especially are effective against him when his hand is floating in the air between his attacks, and other times you can use your quick A button attacks, or even range him with your B attacks on certain characters to chip away at his HP. Once Master Hand has reached 0 HP, he is officially defeated, and will die in a dramatic fashion per usual in the N64 era, and he will fade into oblivion. Your final score will be calculated at the end, which doesn't really matter for what we are going for in this guide. Congratulations, you have made it through one-player mode, and your reward is to return to an action figure and to complete this task 7 more times at a minimum. Also, every time you complete the main game, there's a cool little mini-game with the credits. It has a Star Fox 64 feel, and you can fire lasers at people's names to get more information. Just a neat little addition, nothing that's going to sell extra copies of the game. But hey, it's better than nothing. If it ever gets old, just press start, and it will speed through the list. And this is where we have the chance to battle an unlockable character if we completed the main game in the correct manner. As I said before, Captain Falcon requires you to beat the main game in under 20-minute match time without using a continue. This can be accomplished on any difficulty. Heads up, all character unlocks are 1v1 competition, 1 life versus 1 life, no matter how many lives you had left after defeating Master Hand. If you lose, you have to re-attempt the entire one-player mode again, so yes, it's do or die. Captain Falcon is quick and packs a powerful punch. Just remain focused and down him, and he is all yours to play in the future. When you successfully defeat the hidden character, a screen will appear confirming your victory. Good job, team. 1 down, 3 more to capture. Our second player we will unlock is Jigglypuff. She could be first or second, depending on how fast you beat the game the first time around. Again, I would accomplish this on a different character than what you used the first time, as you need to complete the game on all 8 original characters to unlock Mushroom Kingdom as previously stated. Jigglypuff can be unlocked by completing the 1-player game on any difficulty in any amount of time, doesn't matter if you use a continue or not. She's extremely easy to defeat. She has similar movesets to Kirby, but the AI is horrible at this fight, so just knock her off ASAP and be aggressive. She's not very retaliatory. And up next we have Ness. I know I put Luigi as 3rd and Ness as 4th in the beginning of this video, but Ness is way harder to unlock than Luigi. We'll discuss him first because he is part of the 1-player mode. He's unlocked by completing the 1-player game on normal mode with no more than 3 lives, and you cannot use a continue. Again, I will belabor the fact to use a different character than the previous times you completed 1-player mode. As we reviewed before, the most difficult part of this fight is facing the Fighting Polygon team because they have a tendency to cause some lost lives, especially on normal difficulty when their skills are ramped up a bit. Ness himself is a bit difficult as well. He possesses telekinesis and has some potent range effects while also being quite aggressive. Really be on your toes here, it's amped up in difficulty compared to Captain and Jiggly. Once Captain Falcon, Jigglypuff, and Ness are unlocked, you have multiple paths you can take for the rest of the content to become available to you. What I would suggest personally is to continue playing the 1-player mode as the other 5 of the original 8 you do not use to unlock the secret 3 characters we currently have. This can be completed on any difficulty while also using continues if necessary. Again, I would 100% complete both break the targets and board the platforms during the 1-player mode in order to reduce your workload later in the game. Once you have defeated Master Hand with the original 8 characters, you'll need to play multiplayer at least once on each stage to unlock Mushroom Kingdom. And while we are at it, we are going to do the most tedious grind of the game in order to unlock the item switch. Here's the lowdown and the simplest way to complete both these tasks somewhat simultaneously at this point. Once you are on the multiplayer menu, be sure that the top left corner is set to free for all and not team battle. All you need to do is press A on this and it will shift modes. Be sure to set to stock game at the top here and set it to 1 life. This can be changed from time to stock on the previous page before you select verse start. Then make sure you introduce 1 computer character by clicking on the NA circled here. Once on the level selected for multiplayer mode, you will see there are 8 courses available to you. The random level is not required to unlock Mushroom Kingdom. It doesn't matter which order you complete these. I will honestly just go down the list in an order you prefer to be able to keep track. We are going to knock out quite a few multiplayer games here, so be prepared for quite a few intentional deaths to yourself. The reason I chose Fox is because he is very quick and has the ability to run off the edge in a matter of a couple seconds, and we want to save as much time here as possible. As I stated before, you'll want to do this once on each level, and these are also counting toward your overall number of multiplayer games required for the item switch, which is 100 games. This isn't really too bad. Completing these 8 levels for Mushroom Kingdom took me less than 5 minutes from what I remember, and it was worth it in the end. Once all 8 levels have been completed, you will have access to the Mushroom Kingdom course. No fights or further action is required, it will simply be available next time you go to multiplayer mode. The course itself is a retro-themed Mario level equipped with piranha plants and Koopas in the background. It's also quite wide by Super Smash Bros. 64 standards. It's one of my preferred levels, especially when there are 4 players. It does have a couple neat tricks as well. The 2 pipes do offer some warp points, but be careful because you will come out of this pipe that will make you fall to your death if you don't react quickly. Keeping up with the process we just completed, we can now knock out the other 91 multiplayer games to unlock the item switch mode. You can choose any of the levels to complete this, but I went with Yoshi's area mainly because it's a small compact area and you start close to the edge so you can dart off with Fox in a matter of a couple seconds. Now the overall time it takes to complete this varies on many factors obviously. The characters you choose, the course you choose, how quickly you choose options and navigate screens all play a role. I'm speeding this up a bit to give you an idea of how you don't need to stray from a repetitive cycle in order to complete this. Find your groove and the time will go by quickly. Unless you count them yourself, there isn't a good way to keep track of this. I don't suggest doing that, however, because distractions have the potential to slow you down. In order to complete the 91 games I needed, since we played 9 courses already on multiplayer, it took me roughly 31.5 minutes. This means I was completing roughly 2.9 games per minute by using this strategy. If you find a faster way, by all means go for it. This is just my preference and a way I found that worked best for me. Once you hit that sweet 100 number for multiplayer games completed, you will then be awarded the item switch on Versus mode. Again, you will not need to take any further action such as fighting a boss once you have completed your 100th game. To access the item switch, simply go to the Versus menu, then scroll down to the Versus option. You will now see item switch located as the last option. The item switch is pretty self-explanatory. It allows you to toggle which items, if any, you would like to appear in multiplayer matches. This is a useful option when having a Super Smash Bros. Party. Some of the items people can't agree on or generally just dislike, and you are able to exempt those items from your matches. Generally, I like to keep all items available, as I don't think there is a quote, bad item in this game. The only one that is a bit of a nuisance is the bomb, as it can explode when you open a box or barrel, and you'll never see it coming. Also, the home run bat is a bit cheap, but I'm pretty good with it, so I like to keep it active. Also, the top option allows you to toggle how often items will appear. This is useful if you want to increase or decrease the frequency of items appearing on the level. Up next on our list, we have another concurrent unlockable task. To unlock Luigi, go into Bonus Practice 1, which is Break the Targets. In order to unlock Luigi, we need to complete Break the Targets with all 8 starting characters. The way you can tell if you have completed the bonus stage on that character is by looking at the stat on the bottom right. If you have already completed that bonus stage with the selected character, it will state your best time. And by contrast, if you have not completed 10 out of 10 targets on the selected character, it will instead state your highest target count, in this case being 9. So in essence, we still need to go smash some targets with DK. Smash the targets is an overall easy to medium task to complete. All you need to do is get close to the target and attack it in some way to destroy it. Most of the targets are fairly easy to destroy for most of the characters. Most will have some mechanic of the character you are playing to reach a certain target that may be a bit more difficult than the rest. An example of this includes Yoshi's egg throwing. Sometimes it's hard to aim it and hit this target and can get frustrating after a bit. A couple of Jigglypuff's targets can be rough to get as well. In my personal opinion, she has horrible jumps, and the game makes you puff to certain targets, and then maneuver around obstacles to attack another target. Once you have completed Break the Targets with the 8 original characters, you will then be challenged by Mario's younger brother Luigi. This fight is pretty simple to say the least. Luigi has a similar fighting style to Mario, including fireballs that are green instead of red. Luigi isn't overly aggressive or defensive, he just kind of reacts like a new player. Kind of like when you introduce your dad to a game. You know he's trying, but deep down you know there is a 0% chance that he's going to beat you in a match. Once Luigi goes down, you will officially have him unlocked, and now have access to all 12 characters in Super Smash Bros. 64. Congratulations. Another important point is if you do lose against Luigi, you do not have to break the targets on all 8 characters again. You will be able to fight him again and again simply by completing Break the Targets with one of the original 8 characters. So don't freak out if you mess up, you'll get unlimited chances theoretically. Before we move on to our last task of the game, unlocking the sound test, be sure you complete Break the Targets on all 12 characters, including Luigi, who we just unlocked. Nothing is different in the process with the unlockable characters. Simply smash the targets like you did with the original group and we are ready to move on. Next we will go to Bonus Practice 2, which of course is Board the Platforms. There is some bad news here though. I find Board the Platforms more difficult than Break the Targets by quite a large margin. Again, you can tell which Board the Platforms you have completed on each character by selecting said character and checking out the bottom right corner. If it doesn't have a best time, then you know you still need to complete all 10 platforms on that character. My opinion on Board the Platforms is its difficulty lies in a character's movement and ability to maneuver in certain aspects, rather than relying on attacks and break the targets. Using fireballs or smashing a target from yards away by using a PK fire or a boomerang is significantly easier than timing jumps and up B moves to land on platforms that have little room for error. I do want to make mention of a feature that is available in Break the Targets and Board the Platforms, but it's much more useful than the latter. If you press the start button, the game will actually give you a zoomed out screenshot of the entire course. This makes it easy to see which platforms you haven't completed yet, and can also help you plan your route. You can do this as often as needed, as there is no limit to this feature. Some examples of why this may be difficult for some include Link's last platform. You have to time your sword spin just right and land on the small platform, otherwise you will die and have to start all over. There are also difficult scenarios which include what I call apex jumping. Essentially you have to jump, and just when you reach the highest point you have to use your second jump. And when you hit the apex of your second jump, you then have to use your up B move for a bit more vertical and distance to land on the platform. I whiffed this multiple times on Samus, and this platform has always been a bane for me. But with a little persistence, I was finally able to nab that last platform. But by far the worst platform in the entire game, of course, goes to our pink floof friend, Jigglypuff. This platform is just downright evil and can take quite a bit of patience. Essentially, you have to time your jumps and punches just right. You have to puff up, punch with the B button, puff up, punch with the B button, over and over until you reach the last platform. Also, don't mess up or you will fall off and die. Once you've completed both break the targets and board the platforms with all 12 characters, you will be awarded the sound test. Again, no further action such as a fight is needed, it will automatically be added to your options, and you will see just how big of a disappointment this feature truly is. We won't spend much time on this because it's so forgettable. I wish honestly there was a better reward for completing the bonus stages, but alas, here we are. Essentially, Sound Test is located under the Data tab and has 3 options to make sounds. Keep in mind these are all numbered, so you don't have any idea what you're actually playing unless you look up some kind of guide online. Essentially, music is the music that is present in the game. Sound is the sound effect, like items or character moves, and voice is character voices. You have to press A to activate each one, and it honestly just sounds like a knockoff DJ app. Here's an example of what I did. Okay, enough of that. Oh, by the way, you have officially unlocked everything. But there is also something else you unlock that I will mention now, as it doesn't actually appear on your screen to let you know that this Easter egg is now available. I wanted to save this last because it's kind of useless, but it's cool nonetheless. Once you have unlocked all characters, there is now a 1 in a 151 chance that Mew will appear in Pokeballs. He doesn't actually do anything, he only awards some points in one player mode, but still Mew is way cooler than the sound test. Once Mew is unlocked, and if you want to see him in his brief action, here is what I would do to approach the situation. Go to our item switch and make item appearance very high, and also turn off every item except the Pokeballs, of course. Then go to multiplayer mode and set on a team timed battle with infinite time. Let's make this a real Pokemon battle and get 2 Pikachus and 2 Jigglypuffs that will battle in Saffron City. Now the quest for Mew can begin. I really enjoyed the addition of Pokemon in these games. There really is a good variety. You have Pokemon such as Meowth, Coughing, and Snorlax that can do AoE damage, while Pokemon such as Hitmonlee and Starmie have single target attacks. Clefairy is able to mimic any Pokemon ability at random, and then we have Goldeen, who is completely useless and just flops around like a dead fish, although she's not dead. And then surprisingly, I got a Mew pretty early on, much earlier than I thought. But here is Mew, ladies and gentlemen. What a beauty, so majestic and inspiring. And there you have it, folks, you have officially completed Super Smash Bros. On the N64. Give yourself a well-deserved round of applause. Now having everything unlocked, you can impress your friends in the mode that's most popular in Smash Bros. Multiplayer is by far the best part of this game. It's truly the reason this game has become a classic, and sequels are still made to this day. Playing against friends is still as fun today as it was back in the 1990s. I love the original, as I truly believe it's overall balanced quite well, and can be fun for people of all skill levels. As I mentioned before, now that we have the item switch available, you can talk with your friends about which items to allow and which ones to omit. Having everything unlocked just makes this classic game that much better. There are so many things you can do to raise the stakes as well. You can create your own tournament for friends to compete, or you can simply make a fun drinking game out of this by taking a drink after every time you die. Of course, exercise caution and responsibility. The options are essentially limitless in multiplayer mode. I can't praise this enough. It is truly a masterpiece, and better than any other fighting game I've played. Thank you all for checking out this review and detailed walkthrough. Hope you all learned something and became a better Smash Bro along the way. Alrighty folks, and there you have it, my in-depth review / walkthrough on Super Smash Bros. On the Nintendo 64. Overall, some final thoughts on this game. I would highly suggest buying this. If you don't have any N64 games, this is the game that needs to come first, especially for the multiplayer aspect. Some people will claim that Mario Kart 64 or GoldenEye 007 are the best multiplayer games on the platform. Respectfully, I would rank those 2 and 3. I think, bar none, Super Smash Bros. Is the best. I have spent countless hours on this game as a child, and even now, I'm 30 years old and still enjoy this game. Sometimes we'll break this out and have a little tournament with our friends, and if I ever see this game at a bar, I'll challenge some of the local patrons there and take them on. And Honestly, the one-player mode's not horrible either. It's got limited content. It does. It's the Nintendo 64. Having 12 characters, 4 of them are unlocked. You only start with 8, and having 8 levels, but the one-player mode's great for kind of getting your groove, finding out what counters what, getting your movesets down, your reaction time. So it has its advantages. I probably am going to upload a separate video, because I enjoyed this game so much. That's why this video is so long. I do want to show me doing a very hard with Mario on a one-player mode. I really want to see if I can do it with less than 3 lives. I did it with less than 5 a couple weeks ago, but it's not good enough for me. I would like to do it flawless, but yeah, that's probably not going to happen. In terms of, you know, I do want to show this. Yeah, I know. I do have the box for this, the original box. This is a game I got 9 years old, 8 or 9 years old. Surprised the box kept up this well. I also have the instruction booklet here. I think this is the highest quality of box/instruction book I have. It's actually pretty detailed. I like the instruction book to this. It'll give you like the move sets. It's very in depth. They do a very good job of kind of highlighting the items, what they do. If you can get your hands on one, I would read through it. It's very well done. It's not like a lot of the instruction booklets that's just a bunch of gibberish. It's actually a little bit useful. Overall, I would give this game an 8.5 out of 10. I would rank it higher, but knowing what I know now in 2020, it gets better from here on out. I really liked Melee on the GameCube. I got that afterwards. And it was just phenomenal of a game. This game has only improved, in my opinion, from here on out. I'm very grateful that this game existed and gave us an awesome series. I look forward to more in the future as well. I enjoy all the characters they've added, the courses they've added, all the features. Super Smash on the N64 is just a great starting game. Go out and get it if you can get it. Do some replay if you can. Like I said, I made a video with all the unlockables. Go out and get all the unlockables and really impress your friends. If you're able to get some of those. I know some of those are time consuming, but yeah, overall, great game. I really enjoyed it. I don't even know if it'll hold up to the next game I'm gonna do. I'm not even sure what that'll be, but it better have some good follow-up, because I really enjoyed Super Smash Brothers just overall as a franchise. So thank you again for stopping by. It was a pleasure to have you here. So we'll see you next time. Peace out.